Most of us walk around like we've got everything together. We put on the smile, we say, "I'm fine," and we keep moving. But if I asked you right now, how's your heart? Not your career, not your bank account, not your Instagram feed. Your heart, would you know how to answer? See, the heart isn't just about feelings. It's the filter through which we see everything. Relationships, struggles, even opportunities. A wounded heart will sabotage what your hands build. A guarded heart will keep out not just pain, but also joy. And a healthy heart that changes the way you lead, love, and live. Today, I want to talk about the condition of your heart, because until we deal with what's inside, everything outside will always feel unfinished. What you carry in your heart spills into your life. A wounded heart will always sabotage your best intentions. Guarding your heart doesn't mean building walls, it means choosing filters. Unforgiveness is the heaviest weight your heart can hold. A grateful heart shifts your perspective, even in pain. The health of your heart determines the health of your relationships. What you carry in your heart spills into your life, and most of us underestimate how powerful that truth really is. The heart is not just a place where emotions live. It's the command center of our decisions, our attitudes, and our outlook on everything we face. Think about it. If your heart is full of bitterness, no matter how polite your words are, bitterness will seep through your tone, your expressions, and the way you treat people. If your heart is weighed down with worry, it doesn't matter how organized your calendar looks, your decisions will be driven by fear instead of clarity. The heart leaks. It leaks into conversations. It leaks into choices. It leaks into the way we carry ourselves every single day. That's why you can't just focus on the surface. You can build habits, read books, learn strategies, but if your heart is carrying resentment or insecurity, those cracks will show. People will sense it. You'll sense it. You'll find yourself snapping at small things, procrastinating on big things, or struggling to celebrate someone else's success because deep down your heart hasn't been taken care of. That's not weakness, that's reality. The condition of your heart will either push you forward or quietly pull you back, and you may not even realize it's happening until you pause long enough to take inventory. When your heart is healthy, though, it's like fuel. Joy becomes contagious, patience becomes easier, and kindness doesn't feel forced. A heart filled with hope will see opportunities where others only see problems. A heart filled with peace will respond calmly to things that would normally cause chaos. And this isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about tending to what's going on beneath the surface so that what flows out of you adds value instead of damage. What you carry in your heart becomes the atmosphere you create around you, and people will either want to step into it or avoid it. The truth is, every single one of us is carrying something. Some carry old wounds from childhood, some carry disappointments from broken trust, some carry anxiety about the future or shame from the past. You might be carrying ambition, dreams, and passion, but even those can turn heavy if they're mixed with fear or comparison. Whatever you're holding on to doesn't just stay hidden inside. It eventually shows up in your relationships, in your work, in the way you talk to yourself when no one else is around. And if you're not careful, the wrong things will keep spilling out and shaping a reality you never wanted. So the challenge becomes simple, but not easy. Pay attention to what you're carrying. Because your heart is not a storage unit, it's a source. It's not meant to hold on to everything indefinitely. It's meant to release and flow. If you keep carrying anger, anger will flow. If you keep carrying joy, joy will flow. If you keep carrying fear, fear will flow. And the scary part is, sometimes you're the last one to notice what's actually pouring out of you. But everyone around you already feels it. A wounded heart will always sabotage your best intentions. Because no matter how much you want to do the right thing, what's broken inside you will eventually show up in how you act, speak, and respond. You can wake up every morning with the decision to be kind, to be patient, to be focused. But if your heart is still carrying the sting of betrayal, the weight of disappointment, or the ache of rejection, that wound becomes the lens through which you see everything. It twists your perception. It makes you doubt people who are actually for you. It makes you defensive when no one is attacking you. It convinces you to prepare for pain even when there's no danger in front of you. And before you know it, the very wound you never wanted starts running your life without your permission. Think about how a physical wound works. If you sprain your ankle but keep running on it, it's only going to get worse. You might still reach the finish line, but you'll do it with damage that takes even longer to heal. The heart works the same way. You can still achieve, you can still perform, you can still smile on the outside, but underneath you're limping emotionally. That limp shows up in subtle ways. It shows up when you withdraw from people because you don't trust them. It shows up when you lash out because something innocent reminded you of old pain. It shows up when you keep chasing success, not because you love growth, but because you're trying to prove your worth to the people who hurt you. A wounded heart is like a leak in a container. No matter how much good you pour in, something is always dripping out, and here's what makes it even more difficult. Wounds left unhealed don't just stay wounds, they become patterns. They become habits of thinking. They become assumptions about people and about life. A broken friendship convinces you that all friendships are unsafe. A failed dream convinces you not to dream again. A betrayal convinces you to build walls so high that love can't climb over them either. That's the sabotage. You want connection, but your wound pushes you toward isolation. You want peace, but your wound whispers suspicion into your ear. You want joy, but your wound convinces you that it won't last, so you never fully embrace it. The wound keeps rewriting the story of your life, and unless you face it, it keeps handing you the same ending over and over again. But here's the part that most of us miss. Acknowledging a wound doesn't make you weak, it makes you honest. Healing doesn't happen in denial. Healing happens when you admit that something hurt you, that it shaped you, and that you don't want it steering your future. That's not about blaming the past. It's about refusing to let the past sabotage your tomorrow. Because every time you ignore a wound, you give it more power. Every time you face it, you take that power back. And when the heart begins to heal, intentions finally have room to turn into actions that aren't sabotaged by hidden pain. Guarding your heart doesn't mean building walls. It means choosing filters. Too many people hear the phrase, guard your heart, and immediately think it means cutting people off, isolating themselves, or refusing to trust anyone. But that's not guarding, that's hiding. Guarding is about being intentional with what you let in and what you let stay. Just like you filter the water you drink because you know unclean water will affect your health, your heart needs a filter for the things you see, hear, and allow to take root inside. Because everything that enters your heart eventually flows back out into your words, your choices, and your character. The truth is, the world is constantly throwing things at your heart. Negativity, comparison, fear, doubt, toxic opinions, they're everywhere. If you don't have filters, all of it just pours in unchallenged. And before long, you start speaking that same negativity, believing those doubts, and living like those opinions are facts. Guarding your heart means deciding, I don't have to accept every voice, every story, every influence that comes my way. It means asking, is this building me up or tearing me down? Is this making me stronger or weaker? Is this helping me grow or keeping me stuck? Because whatever you allow access to your heart becomes the foundation you build your life on, and here's the mistake people make. They think guarding their heart means refusing to feel. They try to block out every possible risk of being hurt, but in doing so, they block out joy, love, and connection too. Guarding your heart doesn't mean living numb, it means living wise. It's not about shutting people out, it's about setting boundaries. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about choosing perspective. It's not about refusing to care, it's about refusing to carry what doesn't belong to you. When you understand that, you stop wasting energy on trying to control everything around you. and you start focusing on controlling what gets planted inside you. The way you filter your heart shows up in practical choices. It shows up in the content you consume, the conversations you entertain, the people you give influence to. If your feed is full of comparison, your heart is going to feel less than. If your circle is full of complainers, your heart is going to lean toward negativity. If your mind is constantly absorbing fear-driven headlines, your heart will struggle to see hope. But if you choose carefully, surrounding yourself with encouragement, filling your mind with wisdom, protecting your time with people who bring peace, your heart starts reflecting that too. Guarding your heart isn't complicated, but it does require discipline, because it's so easy to let things slip in unnoticed until they've already started shaping who you are. The condition of your heart is too important to leave unprotected. You don't hand your house keys to a stranger and then wonder why things go missing. You don't leave your phone unlocked in public and then act surprised when your privacy is invaded. In the same way, you can't give everyone and everything free access to your heart and expect it to stay healthy. Guarding your heart is about stewardship. It's about realizing your heart is the wellspring of your life, and whatever flows into it will always flow back out into the world around you. Unforgiveness is the heaviest weight your heart can hold because it doesn't just stay tucked away in the corner of your soul. It spreads into everything you do. Carrying unforgiveness is like walking with a backpack full of bricks. You can keep moving, you can keep smiling, but every step is harder than it has to be. And the sad part is, most of the time, the other person has moved on with their life, while you're still stuck carrying the weight of what they did. Unforgiveness ties your present to your past. It convinces you that the wound can't close, that the story can't change, that you have no choice but to replay the offense over and over again until it becomes the filter for how you see yourself and others. It's easy to think unforgiveness only affects the person who hurt you, but the truth is it doesn't punish them, it punishes you. You're the one who feels the anger when their name comes up. You're the one who relives the pain every time a memory surfaces. You're the one who feels drained because bitterness eats away at your joy. Holding unforgiveness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It doesn't work. It only destroys you from the inside out. And the longer you carry it, the more normal it feels, until you don't even realize how heavy it has become. You start to think that resentment is just part of your personality, when in reality, it's just a symptom of a heart weighed down. And here's where it gets tricky. Unforgiveness can disguise itself as strength. You tell yourself, I don't care, I'm over it, I don't need them. But underneath, the wound is still open. Pretending not to care isn't the same as healing. Dismissing it isn't the same as releasing it. True forgiveness doesn't excuse what happened. It doesn't mean the hurt was okay. It doesn't mean you have to trust that person again, but it does mean you're refusing to let the hurt control your heart any longer. Forgiveness is about freedom, your freedom, because as long as unforgiveness is holding onto you, you can't fully step into peace, you can't fully embrace joy, you can't fully give yourself to the relationships and opportunities in front of you. The weight of unforgiveness also shows up in unexpected ways. It shows up when you snap at people who had nothing to do with the pain. It shows up when you keep your guard up so high that no one can get close to you. It shows up when you compare every new situation to the betrayal of the old one. And it shows up most of all in your inner dialogue, that quiet voice that tells you not to trust, not to hope, not to believe that things can be different. That's why unforgiveness is so dangerous. It doesn't just stay in the past. It bleeds into your present and steals from your future. The heart was never designed to carry that kind of weight. You were made to love, to give, to create, to connect, not to drag chains of bitterness everywhere you go. And while forgiveness may feel impossible at first, it's the only way to lay down the bricks you've been carrying. It's the only way to set yourself free from the invisible prison that unforgiveness builds around your heart. A grateful heart shifts your perspective, even in pain, because gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, it changes how you see them. When life gets heavy, it's easy to focus on everything that's missing, everything that went wrong, or everything you wish you had. That mindset drains your strength before you even begin to move forward. But when you choose gratitude, your heart starts to notice what's still good, what's still working, and what's still worth holding on to. Gratitude doesn't deny reality. It doesn't pretend the struggle isn't there. It simply refuses to let the struggle be the only thing you see. And when your heart sees differently, your response to life shifts. Pain has a way of narrowing your vision. It zooms you in on the problem until it feels like the only thing that exists. Gratitude widens the lens. It reminds you that while something may be broken, not everything is broken. While someone may have left, not everyone has left. While one door may have closed, other doors are still waiting to be opened. Gratitude doesn't erase loss, but it softens it by showing you what remains. That shift in perspective is what gives you the strength to keep going. Because the heart that practices gratitude refuses to be defined only by what went wrong. Gratitude is also one of the most powerful ways to protect your heart from bitterness. Where unforgiveness clings to the pain, gratitude highlights the lessons. Where comparison screams that you don't have enough, gratitude whispers that you already have more than you realize. Where fear tries to convince you that tomorrow will only get worse, gratitude grounds you in the truth that today still holds blessings, even if they're small. It's not about pretending life is perfect. It's about choosing to see that life still holds beauty, even in imperfection. And that simple choice shifts your attitude, your energy, and even your relationships. Because people are naturally drawn to a heart that radiates gratitude, the strength of gratitude shows up most when things aren't going your way. It's easy to be thankful when life is smooth, but it's transformational when you can find gratitude in the storm. Because gratitude in pain doesn't just shift your perspective, it anchors you. It gives your heart something solid to hold onto when everything else feels uncertain. It keeps you from drowning in negativity, not by ignoring the waves, but by reminding you that you still have breath, you still have hope, and you still have reasons to fight through. And here's what's powerful: gratitude is contagious. When your heart learns to see through the lens of gratitude, it changes the way you speak to others, the way you encourage them, and the way you show up in the world. People notice when someone can carry thankfulness even in hard times, because it inspires them to believe that they can do the same. Gratitude doesn't just change you, it changes the atmosphere around you. It takes the weight of pain and balances it with the lightness of appreciation, giving your heart a way to move forward without being crushed by what it's carrying. The health of your heart determines the health of your relationships, because no matter how hard you try to separate the two, who you are inside will always flow into how you treat others. A heart that is heavy with anger will struggle to show patience. A heart that is clouded with insecurity will struggle to give trust. A heart that is closed off with fear will struggle to give love. You can say the right words, you can act the part, but eventually the condition of your heart will leak through. It shapes the tone of your voice, the look in your eyes, the way you respond when tension rises. People may not always know what's going on in your heart, but they will always feel it. That's why two people can go through the same situation and have completely different outcomes in their relationships. One person with a healthy heart sees conflict as an opportunity to understand, while another with a wounded heart sees it as proof they're under attack. One person with a healthy heart can celebrate someone else's success, while another with a jealous heart sees it as a threat. The difference isn't the situation, it's the condition of the heart walking into it. If your heart is toxic, even the good moments in relationships will feel unsafe. If your heart is healthy, even the tough moments can become opportunities to grow closer. The health of your heart also determines how deeply you can connect. If your heart is guarded by walls instead of filters, people will always feel like they're kept at a distance. If your heart is full of unforgiveness, people will feel like they're walking on eggshells around you. If your heart is consumed by comparison, every relationship will feel like a competition instead of a connection. But when your heart is filled with peace, others will feel safe. When your heart is filled with gratitude, others will feel valued. When your heart is filled with love, others will feel accepted. Relationships thrive or wither not just based on compatibility, but on the condition of the hearts involved. And this isn't just about romantic relationships. It's about every relationship you have. Friends, family, coworkers, even strangers passing through your day are impacted by the condition of your heart. A healthy heart makes you a better listener. A healthy heart gives you the patience to slow down instead of rushing through conversations. A healthy heart gives you the humility to admit when you're wrong and the courage to repair what's broken. These are the qualities that make relationships strong, and they don't come from a textbook. They come from the state of your heart. The most powerful thing about tending to the health of your heart is that it multiplies. When you work on healing, forgiving, and growing inside, you naturally create space for others to do the same. Your relationships start to reflect the peace you've built within yourself. Your interactions start to carry the kindness you've cultivated in private. The healthier your heart becomes, the more life you're able to breathe into the people around you. And that's what makes relationships not just survive, but thrive.